Hi, and welcome to my live stream. This is 30 days. I'm doing 30 days of lives at the moment, and this is day 7 of my 30 days of lives. So I am a week into this cool challenge that I'm doing right now. My name is Adina, and I run Manifest Everything Always channel. On this channel, we're talking about manifestation and identity shifting and just stepping into your best life, choosing your ultimate, greatest reality. That's what we're doing on this channel. And we're doing 30 days of live streams, but actually it's 30 days of robotic affirming. So each day I'm affirming 3 times a day, 10 minutes a day, 3 times a day, 10 minutes each session. And some days I do robotic affirming sessions on here, but today I'm just going to do a story time of how I manifested $20,000 in 30 days, dollars in 30 days, and I might do a quick robotic affirming session at the end of the stream. I don't think this stream is going to be too long, simply because I think I'm going to do an all-night live stream affirmation one, like a 12-hour one. Yesterday I did a 13-hour one. The day before I did a 10-hour one, and it was just an ongoing loop stream. So yeah, before we start the stream, actually, I'm going to do a prayer for financial abundance and overflow, and then I'm going to get into the story. Let me just wait a bit and see if anyone comes into the stream, and if not, I'm going to just get into it because I have a time constraint. I'm thinking about doing lives on TikTok, but I don't know what it is, but every time I'm about to do a live on TikTok, I just freeze. I don't know why. There's something about TikTok that scares me. I think people are a little bit more open on there. I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to do a prayer for financial abundance and overflow before I get into the story time of how I manifested $20,000 in 30 days. So let's go. And you can check out the link in my bio, my Digital Abundance 30 free challenge that helps to shift your mindset to build a profitable digital business. So Abundant Source, we acknowledge you not as something outside of us, distant or separate, but as the living intelligence within us. We recognize that you move through our thoughts, our breath, our creativity, and our choices. You are not apart from humanity, you are expressed through us. Today, we remember that abundance begins within. We release the illusion that prosperity must be chased, earned through struggle or proven through exhaustion. We remember that the same abundant source that creates ideas, opportunities, and expansion lives within our consciousness and flows through our lives naturally. We release beliefs rooted in lack, fear, and limitation. We let go of stories that say there is not enough, that it's too late, or that abundance is reserved for others. We choose instead to assume that we are supported, provided for, and guided. Abundant source within us, recollaborate our minds to abundance, rewire our identities to overflow, and align our thoughts, assumptions, and expectations with financial ease and stability. We allow ourselves to feel safe with money. We allow ourselves to feel calm, receiving more. We allow wealth to flow toward us as a reflection of inner alignment rather than force. And we recognize that when we honor our gifts, our creativity, and our inspired action, we allow abundant source to work through us. Our ideas have value. Our presence has value. Our work is worthy of fair and abundant compensation. We affirm that financial overflow is not something to strive for, but something to allow. And as we shift internally, our outer world responds, and as we embody abundance within, our circumstances reorganize to match it. Abundant source within us and among us. May money circulate through our lives with ease, integrity, and purpose. May our income expand in ways that are ethical, aligned, and sustainable. May wealth support our freedom, our peace, our families, and our ability to contribute meaningfully to the world. May we be wise stewards of abundance, grounded, responsible, and generous, and let prosperity amplify what is already good within us. Let wealth become a tool for expansion, not pressure. We affirm that our needs are met. We affirm that our desires are supported. We affirm that our abundance is not arriving someday. It is present now. We trust the unfolding and we trust the process. We trust the abundant source within us, and we give our gratitude for what is already moving, already forming and already done. We move forward with expectation, certainty and peace, knowing that abundance flows through us because it lives within us. And so it is. We allow it, we embody it, and we receive it. So I'm now going to get into the story. I'm now going to get into the story of how I manifested $20,000 in 30 days. One of the things I do want to say is that I'm a massive advocate of robotic affirming. I don't always use this method, robotic affirming, to affirm stuff or affirm anything, but I like to use it quite a lot. Right now, I'm currently doing a year-long level up challenge, and one of my decisions is a challenge that I make $20,000 a month with ease. You know, at one point I was at that level, and then now I'm not making that as much as that, but I've made a decision that that's what the level that I want to get to and higher again. So this is a small amount because, like I said, I'm used to earning more. But after, a period of time of things not working out as well as I thought, I've set up my new number at 20,000. So this works well for me, and I suggest you come up with your own number, but don't limit yourself. I suggest that you don't come up with, often I say this, come up with a number and double it. So if you say 10,000, it should be 20,000 that you're aiming for, or that's your decision that you've made. And then if you say 20,000, then really your decision is 40,000, 50,000 is 100,000, 100,000 is 200,000. But don't limit yourself too much, because when you limit yourself too much, you actually block your blessings, in my opinion. So you want to go for a number that feels like it's stretched, but not something that makes your nervous system feel like it's about to explode. So if you think manifestation is just sitting on a couch and wishing for a check to appear, then that's not it. It's not about wishful thinking. It's about aligning your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions with a specific result. And it feels like a conversation with the universe where you finally start listening to opportunities already surrounding you as well. So here is the exact path I followed to manifest 20 grand in just 1 month. There's a power in being specific, because when you're really specific, it aligns with making a strong decision. And there's redemptive power in making a decision and being really steadfast with that decision and sticking with that thing. Especially if you're new to manifestation, if you can stick to a decision and you can say, I simply decide I'm making $20,000 a month. Not my goal is to make. I simply decide I'm making $20,000 a month, because it's not a goal, it's a decision that you make. Because when you make a decision, you step into the role of that person. You don't say, right, my target is to hit this amount of money. You're going to say, I decide. For me, I picked a number that was both challenging and within my brain's reach. If you pick a number that feels completely fake to you, your subconscious mind will fight it every step of the way. You want a number that makes you feel excited and perhaps somewhat nervous, but not too nervous, because your nervous system plays a role in how quickly you manifest. If you're extremely anxious all the time, it's going to make things harder for you. I'm not going to sit here and say it's impossible, because I feel like when you do, I know that when you do robotic affirming, when you affirm over and over and over and over again, repeatedly, I might even do a live where I'm doing affirming $20,000. That might be quite cool. Once I had my number, I gave it a job. Money likes to have a purpose. I defined the precise uses for which I would allocate the $20,000. And I allocated funds for my savings, a specific credit card balance, and a weekend trip, and I wanted to take, and also some other things. This exercise turned money from an abstract concept into a practical tool for my life. And I think it makes it more fun. I know it makes it more fun when you allocate it to a specific, like, sort of bucket. You say, okay, I'm going to use it to buy this. Like, for example, I have I've decided that I'm going to buy a specific high-end watch because I'm using it for investment purposes, not necessarily just to walk around and be, flexing out on anyone, but it's for investment purposes, okay? So I know how much that watch costs. So if I'm going to sit here and be like, I'm going to make this amount of money and some of this money is going to be allocated towards this high-end watch, it makes it more exciting because I'm going to go to the shops and look at this watch. And this watch is tangible. It's actually something I can pick up and hold. And so having something tangible, because often you receive your money in like a bank account or through Stripe or whatever, it's digital. And then obviously you can withdraw it in cash, but you most often see that money coming in, but it's coming in through a digital means. So it doesn't feel so tangible and so exciting. So if you tie it to something specific, it actually makes it more exciting. It starts to feel like a game. So I cleared the mental clutter. So you cannot fill a cup that is already full of rocks. So in this context, the rocks represent your limiting beliefs about money. I had to become honest about my internal dialogue, and I realised I often said things like, I'm just not gifted with money, or money is difficult to come by, or money is hard to get. That's a limiting belief. And every time one of those thoughts popped up, I caught it, replaced it with a new active statement. So I started saying, I'm open to receiving money from expected and unexpected sources. Or you can say, I'm open to receiving money in expected and unexpected ways. I did not just say it, I tried to feel the relief that comes with that moment, with that statement. So often I'll do deep breathing exercises and I'll do EFT tapping as well. I'm not an expert when it comes to EFT tapping, but it really does help with nervous system regulation. It's really powerful. And so I would do this. I'm open to receiving money from expected and unexpected sources, and I would do EFT tapping. And often I would use these affirmations in a robotic way as well. So I could sit there for like an hour and affirm, I'm open to receiving money from expected and unexpected sources. I'm open to receiving money from expected and unexpected sources. I'm open to receiving... See how that sounds? It sounds robotic, it sounds kind of boring, but I tell you what, it works. It works to prime your subconscious mind, to get you in the mood. It's almost hypnotic. I'm really thinking about doing a 12-hour stream where I just affirm literally for the entire day. I'm thinking about doing it. I'm really thinking about doing it. And I'm thinking about doing it in such a way where I do the affirmations out loud. Well, I need to be quite careful of that because I don't want people to know every single thing I'm affirming for, especially the amount. Like when it comes to money, I don't really want people knowing the exact. I mean, this one, 20,000, I've mentioned, but right now I'm affirming for something specific. Right now, for me. I don't really want everybody to know that, but I could do a blanket one. Anyway, I'm thinking about doing a 12-hour stream where I do that, and I do 12 whole hours of affirming. I would do some out loud, do some in my head, do some writing it down. Anyway, I also looked at my physical environment. I cleaned out my wallet, I organised my receipts, and I treated the small amount of money I already had with immense respect. When you know when you show that you can manage the small things, you signal that you are ready for the big things. That's what I believe anyway. And so, as part of this, I did the affirmations. I did the robotic affirmations. So some of the affirmations were that I am open to receiving money from expected and unexpected sources. And then I would say, I am making $20,000 a month. I'm making $20,000 a month. I'm making $20,000 a month. I'm making $20,000 a month. Or I made $20,000 in 30 days. I made $20,000 in 30 days. I made $20,000 in 30 days. Robotically like that, just kept repeating that. And then aside from just repeating that, I took inspired action. So this is the part that many people miss, and manifestation requires a bit of movement. I call this inspired action, and this type of activity is different from the frantic, desperate hustle we often associate with work. Inspired action is key for me anyway. Yes, you can receive random checks in the mail or gifts from friends. However, I'm an action taker, so I like to take some form of inspired action, then leave the rest to the universe. So during my 30 days, I felt a sudden urge to email a former colleague. I hadn't spoken to her in about 12 months. When I say a former colleague, I mean someone I worked with on a freelance team. Instead of overthinking it, I sent a friendly note. That one email turned into a $5,000 consulting contract. And a week later, I saw an ad for a freelance gig that matched my skills. Usually I would ignore it because I felt too busy, but this time I applied immediately and landed the job 48 hours later. So inspired action feels like a nudge. It is that quiet voice telling you to check a specific job board or call a specific person. And when those nudges happen, you must act fast. You know, manifestation, in my opinion, it loves speed. The window of opportunity often opens and closes very fast. So if you were to ever have a conversation with a multimillionaire or a billionaire, you notice that they make decisions quickly. They make decisions quickly and they don't waver on those decisions unless something requires a sort of bit of a pivot. They generally make decisions fast. So if you want to manifest something, you want to make decisions quickly and you want to bish, bash, bosh, as they say in the UK, get on with it, basically. Living in the end is another thing. One of the most effective tools I use as a technique called living in the end. This means I practice the feelings I would have once the $20,000 arrived before it actually showed up. I was watching a video by Sammy Ingram, and she was saying that the idea of living in the end can be ludicrous to someone who has never experienced that. The reason why it helped me is because I'd received that kind of money before. But in the beginning, if you've never seen that kind of money, it's going to be really hard to conjure up those feelings. I mean, it's going to be really tough and you're going to feel like an idiot. And so often the best way of sort of getting to that point is to visualize as much as possible if you can. And if you can't visualize, you want to start watching videos where someone is counting that amount of money. So there are lots of videos like that on YouTube, counting $20,000, counting $100,000. It's really fun to watch. That type of content can help you with visualization if you're someone who struggles with visualization. I find it difficult to close my eyes and see someone counting money. I can't see it in my head. And so creating a video can be really powerful. Another thing you can do, which is very, 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 very powerful, is to buy prop money. So go onto Amazon and purchase prop money. It sounds very strange to be counting out fake notes, but I tell you what, the feel of the money, the fact that you are feeling that money, what happens is you train your brain to see it as normal to have that kind of money. Secondly, you start to get so used to having that in your hand that when you do receive it, it's like, this is nothing. And it starts to feel like it's not enough. It starts to feel like you deserve more because you finished counting the $20,000 and you're like, that's very fast. I've counted that $20,000 very quickly. I should really be aiming for 50,000 or 100,000. And you just keep seeing yourself receiving more and more and more. You start to get more comfortable with receiving more and more. So what I would do is I would spend about 5 minutes every morning sitting in silence, and I imagined logging into my bank app and seeing that balance. You see, this is what I did, and it took a bit of time and effort to actually create it, but it was really powerful once I'd done it. I actually used AI to create, to change the number on my banking app, and then I created a video with me holding my phone and scrolling up, and I edited it through and it showed the amount of money that was there. But I used AI to do everything, and it was amazing because it looked so realistic. I didn't use AI to create a person or anything. I used myself in the video, but I just changed what was on the screen using AI, and then I turned the phone, and it was just amazing. Anyway, that's what helped me to visualize, because I struggle with visualization when it's something that I haven't seen. or something that I haven't experienced myself recently. But I find I have a lot of vivid dreams, but when I close my eyes and almost have to force myself to visualize, it doesn't really work very well. So I felt gratitude because I'd received that money, even though it hadn't come through. And by practicing the feeling of success, hi, good evening. Good evening, Augustine. How are you? I didn't even see you there. How are you doing? I'm talking about when I manifested $20,000 in a month and what I did to actually do that. And talking about how speaking something over and over and over again can actually help you to train your brain to believe you already have it. And so that affects how you act, how you think, how you behave, and the inspired actions that you take on a daily basis to achieve your desires or whatever it is that you want for your life. I don't remember if I asked you whether you were based in Ghana or whether you're based somewhere else. I can't remember what you said. I don't think I did ask you actually if you actually live in Ghana. But anyway, another thing that I did to help me was I stopped complaining about prices, and I just accepted the price as it was. And even if I couldn't pay for it at that time, I would just say I don't need it right now. I wouldn't say, oh, I can't pay for that. Another thing is that desperation. When you're desperate for money, it's not good. It repels money. I remove the desperation from my daily life, and desperation is a repellent for wealth and for anything abundant. It repels when you're desperate. That's the reason why I say that when you pray, if you are a Christian or whatever religion you practice, you want to stop praying with desperation. Stop pleading God for money. Stop pleading God for stuff. And start thanking God for whatever it is that you are manifesting. Start thanking God for that thing now before you've received it in your 3D reality. So if you're manifesting, say, $20,000, you want to start saying to God, thank you for the $20,000. I'm so grateful. I'm so happy and grateful that I have these $20,000 in my bank account right now. Thank you, God. Whatever religion you practice. I mean, I wouldn't call myself a religious person. I am just highly spiritual, and I believe in a higher power. I believe that we are co-creators to the higher power, whatever you want to call that higher power, God, Allah, the universe, whatever you want to say. I say abundant source. That's what I say. Anyway, when I bought groceries, I felt lucky that I could afford fresh food. This exercise kept my vibration high and my focus on abundance rather than lack. So the idea of living in the end was popularized by Neville Goddard. If you don't know who Neville Goddard is, then Google Neville Goddard. So living in the end is one of Neville Goddard's core teachings, and it's often misunderstood as pretending or wishful thinking. But in reality, it's about identity. Neville taught that imagination creates reality, and what you consistently assume to be true becomes your lived experience. So to live in the end means you no longer relate to your desire as something you are trying to get. You relate it to it as something that is already done. You see, that's the reason why I love Hot is her name, Hot Hype Priestess. She's on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram, and she recently released an app called Stella, and she has this method called the I Simply Decide method. And it's a really powerful method, and it works. It essentially implies that this thing is already done and you simply decide. You're not setting a goal. You have made a decision that this is what your reality looks like. And there's no ands, ifs or buts about it. There's no left or right. It is straight down the line that this thing is yours. You see, so it's not about, like I said, it's not about you trying to get something. It's about you relating to it as something that is already done. And this shift is not about forcing positive thoughts. It's about entering a state as is an inner position, the version of you that thinks, decides, and reacts on behave from having the result. Okay, so when you live in the end, you move through life as the person who already has what they once desired. And so the affirmations that you're saying every day, these are robotic affirmations. You're not saying those affirmations because you want to get something. You're saying those affirmations because you are. The idea of it is that you're reminding yourself that it's already there, that it's already yours. I know it's tough if you've never had anything in your life. If you live in lack and you're always stressed out and all of that. But if you keep doing it and training your brain, you start to feel like you're living in that reality. You create a simulation almost in your mind because you just keep saying it over and over again. And when you live in the end, you move through life as the person who already has what they once desired. Like I said, Neville described feeling as the secret. So feeling is not heightened emotion. It's the quiet sense of knowing the naturalness of something being true. So when you imagine from the first person and experience a scene that implies your desire is fulfilled, you impress the subconscious mind with a new assumption. And once that assumption feels normal, reality reorganizes to match it. Living in the end also means releasing control over how things unfold. And so the how is really none of your business. And so, $20,000 a month, okay, you want to earn that, but you might not earn that money from the thing that you thought you were going to earn it from. So you might have digital products out there. You might have a YouTube channel, and you might think the $20,000 is going to come from your digital products, and so you that's what you're focusing on. But actually, the money could come from your YouTube channel. Living in the end also means releasing control over how things unfold. Like I said, Neville taught that the bridge of events is not your responsibility. When you try to force the outcome or obsess over timing, you reveal that you are still living in the state of trying. And the fulfilled state does not chase, it assumes. So practically, living in the end shows up in subtle ways. You make much calmer decisions, you stop over-explaining, you raise your standards naturally, and your actions come from clarity rather than urgency. You are no longer hustling to become someone, you are expressing who you already are. So at its core, living in the end is about becoming the version of you for whom you desire is normal. And once it is normal internally, it has no chance or choice but to appear externally in your 3D. So let me give you your step-by-step manifestation plan. You're going to pick your number, choose an amount that feels like a reach but is still believable for you, so it doesn't completely throw your nervous system off whack. Assign the funds, write down exactly where every dollar will go. Flip the script, replace I can afford that, I can't afford that with that is not where I'm choosing to put my resources right now. And you're going to speak affirmations or affirmations daily, morning, afternoon, and evening. Why do I receive $20,000 a month each month? Isn't it wonderful that I have $20,000 a month? I have $20,000 in my bank account and I've received it today. I'm earning $30,000 a month. I'm making $20,000 a month. I make $20,000 a month. I make $20,000 a month. I make $20,000 a month. Act on every random idea you have to reach out to someone or start a project. And practice gratitude. Every night, write down 3 things you are grateful for that involve your current resources. Here are some practical takeaways that you can take away from this, and I really hope that this helps you if you're manifesting money right now. Clarity is crucial. Ambitious goals yield ambiguous outcomes. Be precise about your financial decisions or needs. Action is required. You must meet the universe halfway by putting yourself in the path of opportunity. Feel the relief. The more you can feel successful now, the faster that success finds you. Respect the flow. Treat every dollar you currently have with care and appreciation. Manifesting $20,000 in 30 days was not an accident. It was the result of a conscious decision to change my relationship with money. It required me to be brave enough to ask for what I wanted and active enough to pursue the leads that appeared as well. You have the same ability to shift your financial reality. It starts with one clear thought and one small step. Stop worrying about how it will happen and start focusing on the fact that it can. Your bank account is ready for a change. So are you ready? I have a link in my bio, and it's for my 33 Digital Abundance Challenge. You can grab that, and also you can check out my other things that are on the 33 Abundance page that I have, my Done For You Digital Abundance offer, as well as my scripting worksheets up in the bio as well, so you can go and grab those and check those out. So take care and peace. Bye.